workforce of the future so that every single child knows the dignity of a job. Money is not the only thing that we need in reforming our educational system. I firmly believe that we do need to invest more in early education. 90% of a child's brain is formed by the time they're 5. And there are studies today that indicate for every dollar we spend in pre-K and early education, there's a $16 return when they're older. Secondly, I believe we need to focus on third grade reading levels. We need to make sure every child does not leave the third grade unless they are reading on level. There are states today who actually determine the number of prison beds they will need in the future by the number of children not reading in third grade. We must focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math in our middle schoolers, particularly in an area like ours where the demand on our workforce is so much for science and engineering, really reaching our children and preparing them in high school. I believe that we need to look at both the two-pronged approach, academic as well as vocational. Not all of our children are going to go to college, and every measurement seems to be on an SOL test. The SOL test, quite frankly, was meant to be a minimum standard. Virginia has led the way in accountability, but it's time we need to move from accountability to excellence. I really believe that if we focus and educate in high school on AP classes, dual enrollment, and industry certification, we would shorten the period of high school. Students would be able to accumulate more higher ed credit and use our community college system, which would reduce the cost of K through 12 as well as our higher ed. I believe we need to rethink our entire education system so that every dollar is meaningful and accountable for our children. There really is no greater investment.
The question deals with the amount of dollars that we spend in our community on public education, and should we have a greater degree of accountability. You probably know this, but the average child in the city of Lynchburg costs us in tax dollars $11,800. About 10 years or so ago, 13% or so of our kids in our school system were special needs kids. We're now up to 21% special needs kids. The cities are the draw, our public education system, which in Lynchburg, Virginia, my friends, is one of the finest public education systems in our Commonwealth. And we are a draw for our counties. For all those reasons, I have called for requiring at least 65% of all of our education dollars be focused in the classrooms. For merit pays for teachers, for books, and for computers. I've also been working myself here locally on vocational and tech ed programs. You all probably know CVCC has partnered with the University of Virginia, actually our alma mater, with the Department of Engineering. This will bear fruit in our community. As I get around and talk to our small businesses, I talk to our friends at Arriva, I talk to our friends at B&W. They're very excited about being able to grow locally our own resources and our workforce. It's critical to our community. But more importantly, I want to tell you a little bit about my own personal commitment to public education in this community. My wife probably says it best. She says, Scott, you know, we give the highest recommendation we can give to our public school system. We send our own children there. We send Tyler his first grade at Bedford Hills School. Now, more importantly than that, my wife and I, mostly Whitney, but occasionally I read to the kindergartners. And I read to the Title I kids, which is a federal funding program for reading challenged kids. And for 10 years, many of you know, the group of us that purchased Sandusky and are restoring that. For 10 years now, I've had fifth graders come. We've served a little over 3,100 fifth graders, and I work with their SOLs in history, one of my passions being the history of medicine. I have finished teaching a course at EC Glass to 12th graders on financial preparedness. I was very conflicted because a lot of our students graduated and don't know the difference between credit and debt, and that is unacceptable. So I took it upon myself, and I taught a course, a junior achievement course, to our 12th graders. And I enjoyed that so much, I went over to Lincoln, and I finished teaching a course to 7th graders in economics for success. My undergraduate degree was in economics. So my friends, I encourage each one of you to get involved. We don't need to put our tax dollars into the schools. Let's put ourselves into the schools.
Next question. Dr. Garrett, in your opinion, what are the top 2 issues facing residents in the 23rd District?
Well, there's no question categorically, and I can tell you, incontrovertibly, unrefutably, is jobs. We have got to get our people back working, my friends. And if we don't do that, we lose. And frankly and honestly, government can't push us out of this economy, out of this recession. It will take our small businesses. They hire 75% of all of our workers. And it will take them getting off the sideline, new jobs. I've talked to our small businesses. I've had a series of luncheons. Turner Parrott and I both have. We've had groups of our small businessmen to get together, not to politic to them, but to seek their counsel. And we've asked them some simple questions. What do you need to headquarter your business in our community, which grants us great benefit, that multiplies those monies that comes back about 8-fold in our community? When that company does well, all of those dollars stay here locally. They're spent at our local restaurants, in our local hotels, in our own shops. And that is something I'm very incentivized to promote in our community, very encouraged to promote. And also, what will it take to get jobs in our community? And they tell us, well, do you need more people coming through the door? Do you need more consumerism? Because that's very emotional. Got more money in my pocket. That's the federal government's plan right now, my friends, is to send us all money. Well, it is not sustainable. We've got a bunch of stimulus money, and it makes us feel good for a while. What are we going to do when that stimulus money is gone? I'm very concerned about this. I sincerely am. Just giving us the money isn't going to work. But if we can get our people back working, we get our folks back into the working place, they will bring home resources for their families. We will be able to afford better education, better health care. We will be able to afford the gas, the taxes that I'm very concerned may be increased in the General Assembly. We've lost checks and balances, my friend, at the national level. And I'm very, very concerned about losing checks and balances at the state level.
Well, I agree with Scott on this question. It certainly is the economy, its economic development, its long-term growth, and its job creation, which is something that I have been doing even before I was elected, working in this community. And since my election in 2006, there's been no greater priority than looking for ways to recruit new business, expand business production, and create jobs. That's why I have worked with our engineering companies on the Center for Advanced Engineering and Research. I fought 4 times in that budget to get the seed money to launch that research center here in Virginia. 4 times that money was cut from the budget, and in the end, in 2006, money did remain to start that, which was matched by the engineering and nuclear energy companies here in our community. And today, we are on the brink of getting a simulator located here in Central Virginia, in Lynchburg, because the University of Virginia had also considered this simulator, and because we were so far ahead in the planning for that, the UVA has ceded to us that the simulator be held here in Virginia. That's why I worked on Produced in Virginia, which is the partnership between the University of Virginia and our community college. A student here, a person here can get a 4-year engineering degree without ever leaving our area. They get hands-on experience with the nuclear companies and engineering companies, and we're growing them right here in Virginia. There was a program called insourcing. There's so much talk about outsourcing jobs because of lower labor costs. What we've been trying to do is insource jobs. Those jobs in Washington that cannot be outsourced because of national security reasons. Bringing those jobs